Yo, what is good? Yo. Hope everybody is doing well today. Just make sure that the stream is going. Yo, what? Okay, stream is going. Sounds good. We're good. Yeah, been having some technical difficulties over the last 3 or so days with my laptop here, and supposed to be streaming over on Streamlabs, but it's not wanting to work. It took me over an hour to really make a decision on did I want to try one more time booting up Streamlabs after the third attempt. But I'm here on OBS. We'll just go back to OBS, and probably gonna do that moving forward until I feel more comfortable with my laptop being nice to me and kind to me and allow me to stream on Streamlabs. But anyway, we're back. I'm back. You're back. We are back with more NBA NCAA content when it's pertaining to these bets. Pretty much I'm going to be looking to recap yesterday's picks and today's, because again, I'm streaming super late. Should have been streaming at least an hour ago. But with that, I had picks in. I posted them over on my Twitter account, and as I always say, whatever you do, if you feel comfortable, if you're watching this stream for later, be sure to go, as I always say, even on regular videos, not on the live stream, but go and follow me over on Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it. I will continuously call it Twitter, at Vortex46 for all of my picks for today's games, tonight's games, tomorrow's games, every game, as many games as we can manage. But with that, we are here to again talk about our picks for yesterday and today. So like I posted over on Twitter early this morning, I went, let me pull up, and as I always continue to say, if you feel comfortable, if you feel up to it, go and create yourself a Pickett account. This is an account app. It's free. It has a subscription that I will not be subscribing to as of currently. Probably won't be at all, but they follow your picks every single day. Like I posted on Twitter, like I talked about on Twitter, I went 7-7 last night, when technically I should have been 6-2. There's a reason for that, and that reason is because originally I had 8 picks in total, and I decided to add 6 more. or 7, 6 more. And like I said, I added 6 more, and those 6 went from again having 8 to having 14 in total, going 7-7. Like I said, should have went 6-2. Technically the original 4 picks that I had per yesterday's live stream for college, those original 4 picks did go fully straight through. I would have had a perfect college betting night last night, going 4-0 with those 4 picks, and then I ended up going 2-2 with my original NBA picks, again per yesterday's stream. But again, like I said, later in the day, I decided to put several more picks together and pretty much got greedy. So let's dive into the recap here. So the original picks, the original 4 for college was High Point to cover the spread. It was -13.5 against Gardner Webb. That was pretty much a lock throughout the entire game. They won 85-64, so that cashed for me. Was really happy about that one. And then Presbyterian and Radford, the over was 132.5. That cash, they scored 143 points. That one went into overtime. I remember seeing that. So that was a dope pick there. And then the under in the Illinois State Belmont game was 158.5. Once I saw that the number went down, I said I really felt even more sure that this pick was gonna hit under, and it did. They totaled 139 points, so I'll gladly take that as a win. And this one felt really good. It was Dayton plus 8.5. I felt really good about this pick per what Outlier was showing, per my gut feeling for this pick. I really felt good about this pick, and throughout the entire game, I just kept feeling really good. The score was so close; it stayed close all the way to the end of the game, where Dayton won 79-76 against VCU on the road, and they cashed that one for me. So again, those are the original four picks. Those are the original 4 picks that I had on my Twitter super early in the day. Those are my 4 original ones, and like I said, should have went 4-0, but like I said, I got greedy. I ended up adding Marshall to cover the spread at -7.5 against I think it was Georgia State. That one, yeah, that one it basically saying it didn't cash. That when I was watching the scoreboard for that one, it was just like it just was not flowing the way that I thought it was going to flow. Like, again, per Outlier stuff, per what I was feeling, I was like, this could cash at 7.5. Marshall been sort of kind of, so it was just like, it is what it is. Marshall won, but they won 79-76, and they did not cover the 7.5, so that did not cash. And the other one the other picks that did not cash for college was I believe that's San Diego State, right? I think that's San Diego State, but it's a -7.5. They went against UND. They lost. I'll just pretty much say that they lost 85-69 at home. They lost. So that one did not cash. So UND covered their number, which was plus 7.5. So that one didn't work out. And the over for the Appalachian State Old Dominion, 126.5. I felt good about this one, even per what Outlier was showing. I felt good that this was going to go over. Did not happen. They finalized with 117 points. They were 9 points shy from 10 points shy. 10 points shy from actually cashing. But again, that one didn't even, with the way that one was formed, it was like, yeah, that's not cashing. So it is what it is. So yeah, 4-3 for college. But again, above 500. But again, I shouldn't have got greedy. I really shouldn't for my college picks. And same thing with the NBA. But the NBA was, I went 3-7. Again, originally I went 2-2, right? But I went 3-7, just under 500 for these 7 picks. Again, I was at 500. I would have really accepted 500 for that. But here are the original 4 picks. I went 1-1 for my 2 lock picks I talked about in yesterday's stream. The Utah Jazz, I took them on a spread plus 5.5. That didn't cash. Why? Because Toronto led most of the game. They won 118-109. That didn't cash. What can you do? I literally took a chance on. I really shouldn't have. What I should have done is taken the under in the game because it went under. That's what I should have done. Why? Because pretty much Utah didn't have anybody playing. Nobody. Marketing, Sexton, I think too. I think maybe he did. I can't remember, but it was Marketing, John Collins, somebody else. There was somebody else. Couple of key players that weren't playing in the game that were called out hours prior to the game. I should have went with the under, because again, Toronto was down too. I think Barrett was out, and I think Grady was out too. So it was just like, you really shouldn't have, and even I shouldn't have grabbed the spread here. But the best bet was for the under, and there's a reason why I'm saying this, because I'm going to talk about this in the next pick. And that next pick is my Memphis Grizzlies, who played against Dallas in Dallas last night. That was the reason. There was a reason why I took the under. It was 239.5 when I grabbed it, and there were a few players from Memphis who weren't playing, but in the midst of that, we won the game on the road. We scored 122 points against Dallas. We held Dallas to 111, so they definitely went under their team total points, and the entire score went under the number at finalizing 233, just several points shy, which is great. And that, like I said, that's the thing that I should have done with the Utah and Toronto game, and I didn't. So that's that. But again, 1-for-1 yet again. I'll take that over a 0-2. Just wish it was a 2-0, and it should have been a 2-0 had I taken the under on the Toronto Jazz game. The other under that I took was a team total under for Charlotte Hornets. This was more so me considering if Lonzo Ball wasn't playing, he was game time decision. And I guess they ruled him in just probably before tip off. I didn't get any notifications on my phone about it. I didn't see anything. And yeah, he ended up playing. And yeah, they not only did they lose at home against the Cavs, which is still interesting that the Cavs just couldn't do anything in the second half. I was paying attention real closely to that game. The Cavs were up, and then Charlotte decided to have a second wind in the second half and just lose by 1 point. They lost 118 to 117, but it's just the fact that they, Cleveland allowed them to just really rev up their score and their points, and they scored 117. So the under for their team total points didn't hit. It went over. So that one I felt good about, but it just didn't work out. The other one that did hit, though, was another under. Portland heading to my Oklahoma City Thunder game here. The under was 230.5. That one was another one where players were out, weren't playing, and I felt good about this pick. I talked about it in yesterday's stream where I was mad because I didn't take the 15 and the plus 15.5. I'm glad I didn't take it now that I see the results here, right? Because the under was the literally the smartest move that you could take. You should have put your bet your mortgage on it, all of that. You would have been coming out on top big. My Oklahoma City Thunder, we won 107-89. Enough said. That cashed. It worked out great. That was an automatic spot for me to pick, and it worked out. But the last pick that didn't work out for me was, and this was more so just off of some stats that I found out a few hours before the game. If I remember correctly, this one was like a late pick, probably about like 3 or 4 o'clock type of thing. But it was team total over, Los Angeles Clippers to go over their team total points of 111.5 at home against New York. Reason being I was saying is because originally this wasn't a pick that was on my radar until I heard some information about the Knicks coming off of a back-to-back game, if I remember correctly, that they lost. If I remember the stat, that they, I think it was coming off of a loss on the road. The team that they went against on the road, that they went over their team total points by, the stat wise, they were the specific basis. The next game was like 20-10 or 8 or something. It was some number that I remember hearing about specifically from another capper that I was just watching his stuff yesterday, and he said that, and I was like, oh well, let me go. You know what I mean? Let me go on a hit. And because there are times when, some of us cappers decide to, we watch other cappers and we hear something. It's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to tell that. Because sometimes sometimes the cappers don't even say, or even I may say something and maybe somebody's watching, maybe another capper's watching, if they're watching. And, you're like, oh, that's actually a great stat to kind of ride that wave. And this was that wave that I decided to ride on, and the wave ended up, I guess, slowing down for now. I can't say that it fully stopped, just because this wave here, specifically with this stat with New York, probably will continue. It's just last night it slowed down because, as you saw, if you were paying attention to this game last night, the Clippers only scored 105 points. So maybe it was something. Maybe it was due to James going off for 50 the game prior, and I don't who knows for sure. Maybe again, maybe New York's defense played a key role in them only scoring 105 instead of 7 more points. I don't know, but all I know is that that pick didn't cash. So it is what it is. 3-4, 7-7. Those are all the picks that happened, that occurred. And now we can dive into the picks that have already finalized for college. I already know that the NBA game has just started, and that's one of the picks. That's the first lock pick that I have in for today. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and just talk about the recap for the day, because like I said, pretty much today's picks were intentional. I decided that instead of going for 8 picks, I decided to go with 12. So today's an intentional day of deciding to do what I went with today, with all of these picks here for NCAA and for college. I mean for NBA. So 6 total NCAA picks, 6 total NBA picks, and so far I'm just under 500. I'm waiting for one more game. That's the Duke game. That's a pick that I have. I'm 2-3 on the night. So hopefully Duke will come through and make it 3-3. But we're gonna just recap these picks, these first 5 picks here, and hope for the best for the rest of the way. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. So first pick that I had, it was Kansas State. For them to cover the spread, it was -6.5 at the time against Iowa State. Per the information, this again is using outlier stuff. Per the information, I actually typed it in a little because some stuff that I was typing, I was at work or just getting to work. I got to work a little later than normal today, so I was flowing, trying to get the rest of these picks out. But the basically saying that the Cyclones were 2-2-1 ATS, and as well as and the Wildcats were 4-1 ATS the last 5 games per each of the team's stuff. But in their 4 most recent games, they both covered the number at 2 apiece. This one was more so just like an up in the air thing. And actually I got the pick was I forgot. That's the one. That's literally the one that I typed wrong. It wasn't a 6.5. It was a +6. I mean, not a -6.5, but a +6.5. But I actually got it on DraftKings at +7.5 because the number dipped up. But either way, Kansas lost by I think like 14 points if I remember correctly. Let me go on ahead and look at this here. Oh, look, Texas A&M won. I'm mad I didn't take their spread. Crap. But let's see. Kansas State here. There's so many games. There was like 31 or 50. There was some amount of games today, right? But let me look at this here. And I'll be talking about this four leg spread pick that I had. I'm gonna guess and say that I went 2-2, but I may have even possibly. I want to say I went 2-2, but I could have went 3-1 on this pick. So Kansas State lost 73-57 at home against Iowa State, ranked 10. So yeah, per the stats, I was just like, maybe Kansas. Maybe Kansas covers the spread. Maybe they lose, but they don't lose by this 8 points. Yeah, they lost by 10 plus points. So that one didn't cash. So that was an 0-2. But this one did cash, right? If I remember correctly. No, wait, no, hold on. Let me look at it. Let me look it up. So this was another one that didn't cash. And I went back to High Point. Went back to back with High Point. This is the one that is for sure. It was a -6.5 for them to cover the spread against Radford at home. The Highlanders were at the time were 3-3-1 ATS, while the Panthers were 4-0-1 ATS over the last 5 games. But High Point was 4-1 against Radford in the last 5 games. It was just something that stood out to me that I felt like it would have cashed, but at the same time, I was also still looking at the defensive side of things for both teams, and pretty much when it was pertaining to the defense for Radford and their offense, they still looked like they were keeping stuff close. But at the same time, Radford, I think, had lost like 2 games back to back or something like that by 10 plus points. So it was just like I was like, well, let me just go on ahead and take this -6.5. And yeah, throughout most of the game, except for maybe early in the second half where High Point had went up by 11 plus points. I remember I was watching that or paying attention to the score while I was at work earlier today. I was like, this has a chance to cash, right? And I was like, let's go High Point. But eventually, by the time I got to looking at the score and seeing the final score, which was High Point won 76-73, it was just like, it didn't cash for me. So it was just something that just didn't work out. So, now High Point is 4-2 against Radford as far as the spread is concerned when covering the number. This one was a really good pick that I felt really good. My gut told me to take this. I'm glad that I took this one. Basically one of the games of the day, which you'll more than likely know what I'm talking about, right? Let me find it here. Let's see. Here we are. So pretty much was like probably may have possibly been the game of the day. Alabama or Auburn. I took Alabama on Caesars plus 7.5, right? For them to cover. It's real simple. Tigers 2-3 ATS. The Tide 3-2 ATS the last 5 games. I just didn't. I think I forgot to post, and I can't remember specifically as far as them against each other. I can't remember. I may have. This is popping up in my head, but I may have seen that the Tide were 2-1 against Auburn, if I remember. Somebody was 2-1, but I want to believe it was this one when I was looking at it. So this game was close throughout the entire game. Like literally, technically Alabama was up for, I want to say, most of the game until the second half hit, and then that's when Auburn kept it close throughout the rest of the game. But it went in overtime. Now we had I think 2 or 3 more games, or one to 3 extra games that went in OT today. But the final score was 93-91, and like I said, this was like my second best pick, and I feel really good about this one. This is what I'm talking about with the excitement and joy in my heart about these college picks, because NBA has been frustrating, but I'm really glad because I love basketball. I love basketball a lot. It's my favorite sport out of any sport. I love it over football. I love it over, and I enjoy tennis. I enjoy watching tennis. That's just me. But basketball is my favorite sport. And the NBA, the pros, I love the NBA. But I just, it just hasn't been clicking the last 2 to 3 seasons for me. But I still watch it in the hopes that, the product will pick up and get better and stay better and, evolve into something more and something better for, my eyes and your eyes to watch. But college has been hitting for me. And that's the funny thing about it is I've only been betting on college for maybe the last 3 weeks. I haven't really touched college like at all for the NCAA. As far as basketball is concerned, I was touching more college football with overs and unders, well, team totals and overs and unders for that one. And that one was working out for me. So it was just like, I really wanted to test to see, per my own guts, my knowledge of how I bet, my experience over the last year and a half, and it was up and down, sometimes even down some, but now it's kind of been on the up, and I'm feeling really good on these last 3 weeks alone. I'm really excited now for next season, but I'm looking forward to this March Madness because we are here now. We're riding this March Madness wave now. But this one here, Alabama, it worked out, and I'm glad that it worked out. So I'm done talking about the game. But like I said, I just got excited. But the other pick, I'm kind of skipping through because I need to find the pick. This one was like my best pick for the day, and it was basically one of the, if not the first game, maybe the second or third game. Just gotta find it. So it was St. John's at Auburn. Super glad, super excited. This was my gut feeling. Why was it my best gut feeling for the day? It's real simple. When I put this in late. This was my final pick. It wasn't even part of my original picks, right? But it was my final pick. Because again, like I said, this was intentional today. Again, I'm waiting on Duke because the Duke North Carolina game to start if it hasn't already, because it's 6:30. But St. John's is my best pick. Why? Because I was at work. I was walking off of the elevator when I had this thought. I said, let me go in here and check to see what the spread number is now compared to where it started. Because if it's at this specific number here, I'm grabbing it. So when I looked at this earlier, but that's the thing, I looked at this earlier. That's why I was saying, let me look at this now, because I was thinking about taking this spread. I was thinking about taking St. John's specifically, but the number didn't feel right. It was I think it opened up at 1.5, but then it dipped up to 2.5. So again, they're the underdogs. St. John's 2.5 at Marquette. And like I said, got off the elevator and it popped in my head. I was like, oh yeah, let me go see what the number is. Because if the number is plus 3.5, again, it was just one. That's literally what popped in my head. If the number is plus 3.5, I'm grabbing it. Went on there, seen it was plus 3.5. Went on DraftKings, grabbed it, minus 108. Look at that. And as I keep saying over the last few streams, minus 108 is one of those numbers that have, as far as value in the betting scene, betting world, hasn't been working out too much for me. It's been up and down for me. So I'm now officially, I want to say I'm now officially just above 500. I want to say I'm 4-3 currently when picking minus 108 over these last 7 picks for this minus 108 value. Plus 3.5 at Marquette. Golden Eagles were at the time. Excuse me. At the time. We're 3-2 ATS in their last 5 games, and the Red Storm, again, at the time, we're 3-2 ATS over the last 5 road games. But this was it. But St. John's was 2-1 against Marquette in their last 3 meetings. Now they're 3-1 in the last 5 meetings. Why? Because St. John's not only won, but they won in fashion. It went into overtime because the game was close throughout the entire game. I was paying attention to the score throughout the entire game. Every time I got a chance to grab my phone, look at the score, all of that, the score was close throughout the entire game, and then it went into overtime. And then that's when I was like, all right, let's see what St. John's does. I got a notification on my phone that somebody said that it said that somebody on St. John's team hit a game-winning shot. I yelled out like, let's go. That was the first win of the day. The very first win, my very first win. I went 1-0 at the start of the day. I was excited, but then after that, that's when I went 1-3. Everything started to kind of dip down. So then, like I said, the one pick that did hit, can't remember specifically on top of my head because I have so many other stuff going on. Pushes me at 2-3 currently. So that's that one. But there was another pick that I did do. It was an extra pick. It was the second to last pick. This one was a 4-leg spread. Central Connecticut, they were minus 9.5. Louisville minus 10.5. Maryland minus 11.5. SMU minus 3.5. Louisville and Maryland handle business. Louisville and Maryland, I think they won by literally plus the number. So that it was going in the direction, but it was Central Connecticut that was winning in the first half. They won 40 something to 20 something. I remember specifically. But their opponent, Fairleigh, they reversed it. They won the second half 42 to something or whatever. And yeah, but Central Connecticut won, I think 76-73, but they just didn't cover the number. So that nixed my 4-pick parlay, which would got me back over $5, almost $6. SMU is playing right now. Again, I put them down for -3.5. I don't see them. I thought that they were playing. Maybe they're done. And I'm about to talk about what I was looking at a couple of times for a few games, and I'm mad because those few games would have been on this ticket that I'm talking about. Originally, these were the things that I was gonna look to put on here, but I wasn't feeling real good about these picks, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I can't seem to find SMU right now, but it's totally fine. But all I'm gonna say is I looked at my Georgia Bulldogs for their spread. I didn't take it. Penn State was the big one that I really wanted to take, but I wasn't sure. I was unsure. There are times you're gonna be betting, you're just unsure, and those are the unsure ones that you feel in you feel a tug at the core of your being to take, but your mind messes with you. It messes with you and causes you to hesitate and not take the pick. When you get that, you just gotta, you're gonna regret not making those decisions, and you're just gonna have to just learn from it and hope that you make the right decision, right call the next time. So it was Georgetown. It was Georgia, Penn State, Princeton. Those three were specifically 3 teams that I was looking at a couple of times for their spreads, and I didn't take them. And what happened? They won and covered their spreads. I'm really mad about that, because all I needed to do then was just put either Maryland or Louisville on that ticket, and this would have cashed for me. Again, would have been $5-something, maybe $6. That type of money would have lasted me for a month. Just saying, because I do cents on the dollar with my picks. Most of you know that, who may be paying attention or watching or lurking or whatever, who may watch this later. That's what I do. I do risky bets. Again, I'm still risking, my own money, but it's just, a few dollars a day, and it still adds up, whether it's up or down. I'm still gaining some type of profit back in the midst of me losing some funds, and I keep it moving, and then I gain a lot extra, and I keep it going. But yeah, that one just didn't work out for me. So yeah, another loss. That was like the 3rd loss pretty much. And like I said, Duke, last one. Gonna be real quick with this one. Then we could dive into the NBA picks, because like I said, the one game just started, or should be just starting. The first one's at 6:30 here, but probably like 6:40. So where are you, Duke? UNC, where are you? Where did I put you? Lower down here. Looking on my Twitter here. Here we go. So I decided to go on ahead. This is either gonna make me and cause me to go 2-4 or 3-3 for the night. It's my last pick here. I decided to take Duke on the spread -10.5 against North Carolina. Both teams over the last 5 games, 3-2 ATS. And the Blue Devils also covered the number in their last recent meeting back on February 1st in an 87-70 home win back last month, the beginning of the month, last month. So with this pick, this was bet 365. It was -110. Just looking at the stuff, like I said, just feeling real confident about this game. It's not so much of a gut feeling, just like I really just feel real confident about this pick. But we're gonna see what happens. We don't really know. Both teams have been covering. Like, both teams have been handling business as far as the number of the last 5 games. So, the thought process is pretty much just hoping that, the game maybe it's close in the first half, and then Duke decides to just really just ball out and, win by 10 or 15 points by the end of the night. That's the hope on the road. We'll see what happens with this one. I'm hearing mixed reviews as far as who you should pick, whether it's the spread or the money line or whatever, or the over or the under. So this one is more than likely the game of the evening. But like I said, for me, the game of the day for me was the St. John's one in that buzzer beater winner. And then second to that is the Alabama pick. So those are my two top picks for the day that I'm really super glad about. So that is that. Okay, so Charlotte and Brooklyn is in their first quarter has ended. But let's dive into the 6 picks here for NBA. Let's do this. So the first lock pick is gonna be, actually the very first game is up. So I decided to go with the over in the Nets Hornets game. Some reason why that is, but it's still gonna be an interesting one. We'll see what happens in the next 3 quarters. I decided to go with the Nets to cover the Nets and Hornets to cover the 215.5. I grabbed this over on FanDuel at -110. The Nets are 1-4 on the road when covering the over the last 5 games. That's that one. But the Hornets at home are 5-0 to covering the over the last 5 games, literally 5-0. So that's kind of saying something for me. That was something that stood out. As far as their last 6 meetings, now tonight's the 7th, but as far as the last 6 meetings, they're 3-3. So they're tied. They're kind of, they're tied up as far as whether the game going over and under. I think the last game it went under. So, and it's more like a trend. Like the first game went over, second game went under, third game went over, fourth game went under, or something like that. Or it was a swap. It was something, but like I said, I think the last game it went under. So again, that's the trend. Like literally, if you go and look at the stats, that's the actual trend per their meeting over the last 6 games. So the trend would then say tonight would be the night that the score goes over, if this trend is actually going to be the continuation of this trend in game number 7 against these 2 teams. So that one, hopefully first lock will hit over the course of the next roughly hour and a half. Next up, I decided to fade the Rockets on the team total points, but I pushed it up a little bit. I grabbed this over on BetMGM minus 135. Team total under was 118.5. But it's going to be a little bit of an interesting one. They're hosting the Pelicans, right? The Rockets are averaging 112 points over the last 5 games, while the Pelicans defense are allowing 119 points currently. But here's the thing: the Rockets are actually averaging 112 points in their last 7 meetings against New Orleans. And, the question becomes tonight, because this is a back-to-back game in the same stadium, because they played against, they went from playing in New Orleans and now they're playing in Houston. The question is, can this specific trend of them staying under their total points and, them averaging this 112 against the Pelicans, can this stick and stay where it's at? Will they go under this 119? That's the hope for this second lock pick, the second pick of the night for the NBA. We'll see what happens with that. Next up, I decided to trust Orlando and the Bucks to go over this total. It's 217.5. The Magic are 2-3 to this number over the last 5 games, but just like Charlotte, it's the same thing with Milwaukee. They're 5-0 to going over for their last 5 games. But also too, same thing with the Charlotte and Nets game. It's the same thing here with the Bucks and Magic. They're 2-2 over the last four meetings when it's pertaining to going over or under the number. So we'll see what happens with this pick. The hope is that this does indeed cash. That's pick number 3. Pick 4, another relying on a team to score over their team total points. Chicago Bulls, going back to them. They've been, let me tell y'all something, guys. There are people, there are cappers, there are people out there who will just refuse to bet on a Bulls game. I understand that, but they've been money for me, whether I've been relying on them to score team total points, whether I've been fading them, whether I've been deciding to pick a team to score more points than them in the game, whatever the case, to trust the other team to go over their team total points. It's been cashing more on the positive side. I'm not sitting here saying that I haven't lost. I would definitely say I'm undefeated, but I'm not when betting on a Bulls game. But it's like I want to say like 8-4 or something like that when betting on a Bulls game. So yeah, I'm just kind of throwing a number out there. I don't really remember specifics, but I'm just saying, like, I've got a few extra wins in my pocket right now when it's pertaining to betting on the Bulls. So today I'm betting on the Bulls to go over their team total points. This is 110.5 over on BetMGM minus 135. The last 5 games, the Bulls have been averaging 119 points, while the Heat's defense are allowing 111 points currently. But here's the thing: the Bulls are averaging 111 points against the Heat in their last 6 games. The question then becomes, can the Bulls, because again, this is around, their defense is hovering around the number, can the Bulls get past that 111? Can they score 112 tonight, or even just hit 111 tonight? That's going to be the question at hand, that hopefully this will cash for me tonight. That's the hope. But that's pick number 5, all right, or 4. So the last 2 picks, these are different. I decided to do 2 parlays. And I usually only do 1. I don't really do parlays all like that anymore. But I did a college parlay, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do originally I was like, well, I'm gonna do 1 more parlay. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do 2 parlays today. So I did 3 in total, again, because I don't really do parlays all like that. Because again, when you're doing parlays, you're relying on more than just one thing to occur, and that's can be detrimental to your pick. If you're deciding to follow a record or anything, that could be detrimental to your record. That's why single betting is the best route for you when it's pertaining to the betting scene. But here's what I decided to do with the parlays for tonight. I actually decided to go back to something that actually hit for me last night. Same thing. It was first quarter points, 2 teams, 2 different games. I decided to go and trust the Miami Heat to score 28 points in the first quarter, and for the Detroit Pistons to score 29 points in the first quarter. There's a reason why I decided to go with this. So the Heat's over for the 28 points first quarter is minus 140, while Pistons over for the 29 points is minus 145. The Heat are 3-2 over the last 5 home games when scoring 28 points or more in the opening quarter, while the Pistons are 4-1 over the last 5 games when scoring 29 points. The best bet, yes, of course, should definitely be the Pistons, right? That again, 4-1, that's way past the 500 mark. They were 1 off. They could be 5-0 right now, but again, they were 1 off from being from having another 29 first quarter point night, right? But it was more so the Heat that stood out to me, that I felt like they can, because they are at home against the Bulls, and the Bulls are a lackadaisical defense. That's the reason why I decided to go with that one specifically to add. I looked at a couple of other teams. I was just like, it's just not really working. Especially Toronto. I was like, this one isn't working. They're like 1-4 or something like that, or 2-3 or something. But it was like going in that specific direction. It was like, I don't really, because I was hoping to trust them for real. Wanted to go with a different team, but I'll just do I'll have the Heat on here in the same game from a different pick, different perspective. So that's why I decided to go with this. I got this over on Fanatics, 2-leg parlay plus 189. That's the value. I put $1.11 down to get back $3.22. So we will see what happens with this one. Or actually, I think it's $3.33, but we'll see what happens with this pick tonight. That is the 5th pick, and the final pick for the night here is 2-leg parlay fading assists. Two players to fade them on their assists. I got this on DraftKings. This was a 2-leg parlay. It's plus 172. I'm deciding to fade Scotty Barnes assist at under 6.5, and to fade Bonchero under 5.5 assists. The Raptors are hosting the Wizards, and Orlando is on the road against the Bucks. So this is the stats. This is what I looked up to find. So Barnes under 6.5 is averaging 5 over the last 5 games as far as assists. The Wizards defense are actually allowing 5 assists against the power forward position. That's pretty much the stat. And that's why I read it. I was like, that actually sounds like a good spot, because he really has only gone over this number once over the last 5 games, right? While Bonchero, his under the last 5 games, is averaging 5, just like Barnes here. And the Bucks defense are allowing actually I wrote that wrong. I meant to put 4. It's not 5, it's 4. The Bucks defense are allowing 4 assists against the power forward position over the last several games here. So another one that just felt right to put down for this one here, and I decided to go on ahead and make it do what it do. So we will see what happens with that one. So again, like I said, just 2 parlays, hoping for the best, hope that these hit, and I get some extra coins back on that one. So that's pretty much everything, guys. I just, hoping for the best with everything, and hoping that, things go in the right direction the rest of the way, just because, like I said, currently I'm 2-3 for these 5 college picks. One of them is actually going in a specific direction right now, that hopeful that it will do what I wanted to do as far as this over for the Hornets and Nets game. But we will see, because currently the Hornets only got 30 points in the second quarter, and there's under 7 minutes left. So currently my pick is going in the opposite direction. So we'll see what happens with this first pick here. I'm actually kind of mad I didn't take Arizona spread. They just won 83-76. I'm sorry, Kansas. I meant to say Kansas. Kansas just won against Arizona 83-76, and they covered the spread. And it went over 154.5. So that's that one. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, the big game tonight, Celtics Lakers. We'll see what happens with that one. I didn't put anything in for that game. I didn't touch it at all, if I remember correctly. So I'm thinking the Celtics will win. I'm thinking they could possibly even win by 11 plus points, but we'll see. But I actually still kind of think that, Lakers, if they lose, they will lose by 10 or less points. But, we'll see if the Lakers even pull out this win on the road. We'll see. But I'm out, guys. Getting ready to go kind of rest up here. Got to work tomorrow. I will be maybe possibly working on some picks just before bed tonight, which is going to be around like 9:30, and then go to bed, go to sleep up, and then whatever I picked, I'll share the rest of my results as I usually do on my Twitter, and then I'll start sharing my picks as I'm heading to work, and while I'm at work, hopefully I'll get all my picks up before I start my shift, and then just hope for the best. Probably tomorrow I'll just do 8 picks. We'll see. Because because like I said, I went overboard with having 14 yesterday. I decided to do 12 today. So, tomorrow I'm probably just going to do just 8. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me just double check on the NBA. How many games are tomorrow? 2, 4, 6, 8 games tomorrow. So we have a back-to-back 8-game weekend, and March Madness continues with so it looks like only 17 games for NCAA tomorrow, which is fine. Still works out because I can still find I'll be able to still find 4 picks for tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And I think there's only one ranked game, and it's the first game. It's Michigan at Michigan State. You know what I'm about to do. I've been saying it on here on the channel, here on the streams. Michigan State's been covering for me. 4-0 betting on Michigan State. 4-0. Guess what I'm about to do, guys? I'm about to push for a 5-0 tomorrow, betting on Michigan State. So we'll see if I pick a spread or over or under, or a team total or something. I'll figure it out hopefully tonight. But I'm out. Stay safe, guys. Stay humble. Take care of yourselves and your family, and I'll hopefully talk to you all tomorrow with my live stream to talk about all of my picks for NBA and college, and just get ready to prepare for